I'm Derian Hatcher, and you're watching Nasty Knuckles.
You're listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Sotomayor and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What's happening, Nasty?
What's up, Rick Aurelia?
Good fresh in that new vest.
Oh, you like my vest? You didn't like my haircut?
Well, I loved it. And you went through a hat on.
Not because you just were chirping.
No,
me.
I said the comb.
It's not new. I just slicked her back.
Threw a little
boys.
gel in
So
there
it's
and
a
then
little
you
longer,
covered it up.
A little longer, so just keep it out of my eyes, man.
Growing it out?
You got yours pulled back.
Well, yeah.
I just got mine gelled back.
Little shaggy these days.
Little shags. You need to fucking shave. But we won't get into that again since you already bailed on a bet. Not a big deal.
Never fully confirmed that.
You should have. You should have confirmed. Where were you for men's league this weekend?
I thought we were done. I thought the season was over.
Done. We lost.
Oh.
New season starting up, though.
All right.
We gotta we'll get
start training. I need some new wheels, by the way.
You have them right over there.
Yeah, well, they're still waiting on steel.
Steel's right here.
Well,
In the shop.
toss it in
Back
there.
here in the shop.
Why don't you toss it in the old
it's
holsters?
A studio right now. Yeah, we have to do that.
Need
for
some
you,
wheels.
buddy. Hey, is it safe to say, I asked Baller earlier, sorry, are they on a heater? Flyboy's on a heater?
Flyers
is this a heater? When it's
definitely
5-0-1.
It's definitely a heater. I would say it's the heater of the year.
Well, definitely a heater of the year. But since we last met last week, won 3 more, putting the record 5-0-1. Don't yawn, Riles.
There's no yawns
you
here.
You were yawning.
No.
Came up with 3 big wins. 5-3 on the road against the Islanders. Always tough to play there. And then they beat the Devils 3-1. That was a really, really good game. And then last night, 2-1 in OT over the Red Wings, who had been hot. They just dropped their 3rd in a row, but since they had hired Todd McClellan, they had gone 7-3 in their last 10. But Sam Ersson, I just want to start with him quickly. Like, we talked about it last week, but he's played really well. He only gave up five goals in the last 3 games, and I think has to do with him and maybe some confidence, and also the way the team's playing.
Yeah, they're playing well in front of him,
blocking shots, and we talk about it every week. That's the way they've got to play to win. Mm-hmm. It's a tough way to play. It's hard, but man, when you get on a roll, if you remember last year, right before, I guess I hate to say meltdown, but before the meltdown kind of came, this is the way they were playing. They were winning games, winning close games. They were getting the goaltending and everything like that. So it's been fun to watch.
It really has, yeah. And as you mentioned, like giving up a lot less, right? Obviously, the tenders making the saves, the timely saves, and they're finding a way to keep it tight and play the right way. So it's nice to see they're playing the right way. But it would be interesting if they can keep this momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of season left.
Yeah, still a lot of season, but 2 points out of a wild card here now. I think last week they were maybe 5 or 6. So you keep stringing wins together. I know other teams are kind of winning when the Flyers win, and it seems like they're not really making a ton of ground. But if they keep winning, they'll eventually find their way in there, and then it's just about holding that position.
Right.
But that consistency seems to be there.
For sure.
The last, say 10 games or so, like they dropped a few in the last 10, but like the way they're playing seems to be consistent. They're defending better, it seems like.
Yes.
Giving up less.
They are. I agree, and it's been fun to watch because I mean they're playing hard, they're battling like we talked about. As Tom Bunny would like to say, the Flyer way.
The Flyer way.
He gets on me all the time for saying that. But no, the way they're playing is the way they have to play to win, like I said. Right. We also want to throw out our well wishes to Scott Laughton and Chloe. Some family stuff going on there. So, he wasn't able to play last night. He actually ended his game streak that he had going. Yeah. But thinking about them and their family.
Family
right
first.
Now. Yep, family first for sure. Also, Riggs, Ryan Poehling got absolutely crushed on the island by Siplikov. Your thoughts on that hit?
You know, when I first saw it, I didn't think it was as bad, from like crossing that line standpoint. Obviously,
Right.
it looked bad on Ryan's standpoint, but then watching the replays and seeing the head contact.
Yeah,
it was,
I mean it's almost late too. No, like
yeah, a little late.
maybe
Yeah,
a little late.
But I mean, he eventually obviously made contact to the head. And,
Yeah,
which is a no-no in this day and age. So
yeah.
I mean,
He was,
it's unfortunate he gets hurt on the play, right?
Yeah.
You always like to hope that guys won't get hurt, and when you
Right.
cross that line and get suspended. But
yeah, wishing him the best.
wishing him the best in his
that's
return. I know
tough
he's
hit.
on the IR
Yeah,
for however long that is. So wish him the best.
yeah. Gentleman, 29 years of age, last night made his NHL debut. Chef Greg was cooking up some obbles. No, in all seriousness, Rodrigo Abols made his debut last night. I would say the rookie lap, but he jumped right out and just snapped the puck. He didn't even make the lap. But it was pretty cool. Big guy.
Yeah, he is.
I didn't know a lot about him until last night, but congratulations to Rodrigo, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, just stick with it, right?
Yeah.
And obviously spend a ton of time overseas in the Swedish league. And
Yeah.
now in Lehigh Valley, but when you pursuing a dream and you stick with it,
Yep.
it's never too late.
Had to be exciting, man. If
Had
he,
the fam in the stands there.
yeah,
I saw,
that was cool. That was cool. If he can, he kind of, that's his first NHL game, just like Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
Right.
If he could go on another 7-8 years, that'd be impressive. But we don't know what'll happen. But congratulations anyway. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
Getting his first game. Torts, on another goalie note, Baller Riley is like yawning like crazy today. It's wild. Torts officially for this week named Fedotov the official backup right now. Not sure what that means as far as will Kolosov get sent down or anything like that, but they did name it. I think we could kind of see it because Fedotov played well.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah,
I mean,
we did. Also, Danny Briere met with the press yesterday. Had his whatever you want to call it, midseason review or updates, whatever. Most I took out of that was talking about this trade deadline, which we did last week with Kevin Kurz. A lot of teams are calling about Risto, which you figured, especially the year he's having. He's having, I think, his best year as a Flyer.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he's kind of doing a little bit of everything. He's brought that physical presence back. He's actually playing on the power
Up
play.
in the play.
He's up in play. I mean, last night, did he get credited with that goal last night? The game winner? Because, I thought he did.
Yeah.
Jumped up into play. My God, thank God it did go in, because if not, they're going 3-0
my
the
gosh,
other way.
right? Yeah.
Because you got two other guys crashing net. But in all seriousness, I can see why teams are calling for him.
Yep.
I mean, he's a big body. So, whatever. I guess, Danny's going to do what's best for the team.
Of
Obviously,
course.
he brought that up. And the other thing that kind of caught my attention a little bit was about some future Flyers with Jett Luchanko and Oliver Bonk. He wasn't very happy with how Team Canada handled their playing time and all that with the World Juniors. So that was basically the gist of it for me.
Yeah, that's
took
what I
out
got
of
out of it too. I mean, and rightfully so. His opinion on those two young prospects. And
Yeah.
I think he said like you got one of the best skaters in the tournament.
Yeah.
At least probably on the team at least.
Probably.
But, to not use him as much, it was obviously disappointing. If you're
Right.
a general manager
Yeah,
of
for
a
sure.
team, the guy's drafted too is. You want to see your prospects play, so
Yeah.
I understand, especially when I say underachieved as a team. But it's the way it goes.
It is.
Hopefully, those guys can take the positives out of their experience there and not let it affect them. And
Yeah, hope so.
eventually, this is just water under the bridge. It's just
Yep.
another conversation you have. So, but yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, what else you got? Any other
Jordan
suspend-
Staal.
Oh, Staal.
Jordan Staal,
Yeah.
1,300 games, got his 700th point in that
Not
game.
bad.
He's at 1301 now. But what a career, man.
Yeah.
Jumped in at 18. Remember seeing him and in Pitt, when he was a rookie, and it's a big body, but man, he's managed to knock wood, stay healthy, and he's had a really good career, obviously. So congratulations to Jordan. It's really cool. Also, Mitch Marner got his 700th point, a little bit quicker.
A little bit quicker, yeah.
Mitchy Poo.
Mitchy Poo playing a little more of an offensive role early on in his career.
Yeah. He definitely is doing that, but pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. Are you ready to make a meaningful impact on Philadelphia's youth? Join the roster, Ed Snyder Youth Hockey and Education's monthly giving program, and help empower under-resourced youth through hockey, education, and life skills development. Your contribution at any level ensures these young athletes have the support they need to succeed both on and off the ice. And here's the exciting part. When you sign up for the roster, you'll be entered to win a giveaway for 2 sweet tickets to an upcoming Flyers game. Imagine enjoying the game from a luxury suite while knowing you're making a difference in your community. Don't wait. Visit snyderhockey.org today, join the roster, and help create a brighter future for Philadelphia's youth.
Got one more thing for you, Riggs.
What do you got?
Well, 2. I got Connor McDavid getting a 3-game suspension for cross-checking the guy right in the ear.
What are your
Connor
thoughts on
Garland. Well,
it's a good one.
I think you got your money's worth out of it. I saw a few people. It's funny. I think we were saying I love John Butchergrass, but Butchie was like, what did he say? Just a fine. Like, oh, Butchie.
Just because it's old McDavid.
Cross-checked him right in the ear.
Yeah.
Poor Connor Garland. Now, he's a
old Garley.
Yeah, Garley. And then Tyler Myers does the same thing to Evan Bouchard, and he gets the 3 games as well. Did you think 3 games was enough for McDavid, I should say, not Myers? Let's hit McDavid first.
I think if it was anybody else,
it could have been more.
Yeah, definitely would have got.
Do you think the league? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Do you think the league gives Myers only 3? Because of that, or
I think that they needed to kind of balance that out.
Yeah,
I think that was probably a conversation around that. But I think if it was more of a role player type of guy, probably 5 or 6. I mean, the way that thing looked, and I forget what team they were playing the game before there, but McDavid did something similar where I thought he was going to get a suspension on that cross check. So it was back-to-back games. I don't know if that had anything to do with the number that they gave him, but I mean, it was a good one. I mean,
that was a good one.
It's like, you can't do that.
No.
So
you can't.
You can't.
Dave Brown did it years ago.
Brown he did do it.
It was more in the neck, though.
Yeah, more in the neck, right? Spinal.
Yeah, spinal.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
I broke my back. What, a vertebrae? Spinal. Baller, you might have to throw that out. Gosh. Anyway. But
it was...
Yeah, you hate to lose McDavid for any games, but I think that's fair.
Yeah, you got to send a message. It's unacceptable. You can't cross-check guys in the head, no matter how frustrated you are.
Yeah.
We all know the game's emotional.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. You almost, part of me is like, I'm glad he shows a little fuck you.
Yeah.
But you can't cross-check someone in the head.
It's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable, Riggs. Can't do it anymore.
Not within the rules, Nast.
No. Imagine if Zach Ronaldo would have done that. He'd have got 30.
Yeah, I was going to say,
he would have got 30
games for that, yeah.
But no, anyway, I just want to get your thoughts on that because I didn't expect him to jump up and do that.
No, I didn't expect it either.
Me by surprise. I'm like, whoa, did I just see this?
You did.
I did. You're right.
Paid the price.
Paid the price. That's what happens. We also here, Nasty Knuckles Baller, Riley, and myself want to wish Zack MacEwen, our good friend, all the best. He's going through some things. He put a post out, so all the best to you, buddy. Get well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take care of yourself. That's most important.
That's right. Got to take care of the old mental health.
Yep.
Got to take care of the personal life.
Yep. So
the fam. So
yep.
Wish him the best.
Yeah, wish you the best, buddy. See you back soon. Hopefully. That's all I got, buddy. You ready?
I'm ready. 188
with the Big Hatch.
The Big Hatch tracked him down.
Yes, we did.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back. I'm Riley Cote.
And I'm Derek Settlemeyer. This week, Riggs, former teammate, unbelievable guy. This young man played 16 seasons in the National Hockey League after being selected 8th overall by the Minnesota North Stars. Were you born when they were the Minnesota North Stars?
Still in diapers.
I'm kidding. In the 1990 NHL entry draft. He played for the Minnesota North Stars, the Dallas Stars, Detroit, and Philadelphia. He played over 1,000 games, to be exact, 1,045 regular season games, along with 133 playoff games, won a cup in 99, and was the first American captain to hoist that cup as being the captain. Also inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame in 2010. Former owner of the Sarnia Sting, which we got to get on Wikipedia about. But please welcome to the show our friend Derian Hatcher. Big Hatch, what's up, buddy?
Nah, not too much. Just enjoying this cold weather in Detroit here.
Woo.
There you go. Yeah,
It's a
I'm
little
sure you
chilly
get
here, too, actually.
Yeah, you get the weather going on there. Yeah, it's trickled down here. It's great to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, it has been a bit. When I got your text there, Riles, because my wife always, she doesn't always ask, but the second you said, "Is this still my number, Big Hatch?" I knew it was. I knew it was someone I knew.
Yeah, right. Some
Didn't
random
have the
guy
number
throwing that out
saved, but
there.
you
Yeah,
do.
exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I think last time I saw you was probably in Adirondack when you were still doing player development.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm
Mhm.
thinking, and
Wow.
Yeah,
that's going back probably 10 years now or so. I think.
yeah, at least.
11?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while,
So,
man.
Yep.
What a
So
beautiful place.
yeah, it's a beautiful place. Probably just as cold as Detroit.
Yeah, it probably
Sure.
is.
So
Yeah,
what's been going on?
For some reason, we're getting that Arctic blast. Like
Yeah.
this morning was minus 24 wind chill. So.
Oh yeah, sounds like the Peg. They
Yeah,
got some,
the
they got
Peg's
some
what it
weather going
sounds
on there too.
Yep.
So how you been? Lots has happened since we've crossed paths. Maybe walk us through. You've been in OHL ownership, coach. Maybe walk us through the last few years and what you're up to these days.
Well, yeah. These days, I guess I'll just start. Yeah, I left Philadelphia. I think 9 years ago. Became half owner of the Sarnia Sting with Dave Ledwand. I coached up there. I think it was 5 years until COVID, and that's what really did it for me was COVID. To be honest with you guys,
Sure.
Especially in the OHL, we're the only league that doesn't play so far. And it kind of ruined it for me a bit. We were shut down a full year. Then the 1 year was in the bubble, and that's when I decided to step down. I didn't want to do that, and then after that, I sold them. Probably about 2 years now.
Okay.
Maybe even 3, to be honest. Yeah. So Wikipedia better get up with it there. And since then, I've been busy. I'm outside Detroit here, and like about an hour north. I've been busy, and doing a multiple different things. To be honest, it's hard to put on one thing, but things are going well, man.
That's awesome, man.
That's great. Branching outside of hockey.
Yeah. I'm not involved in hockey anymore. Everything's just nothing to do with hockey. So
Yeah. That's good.
Do you still are you watching at all? Are you still are you a fan? Do you catch games when you can?
Yeah, I watch, but I'll be honest, unless my wife and the last one in the house, my 16-year-old girl. I'm going to be honest. If we're all sitting around, they don't want to watch hockey. So no offense. Around the house, I don't watch it that much. Playoffs, obviously, I watch, but
Right.
it's more when I'm out having a pint.
There you go.
I catch up. So
yeah,
That's good.
Triple H saw enough hockey.
She saw enough hockey.
Yeah, she's seen it all. Yeah.
Yeah, she saw enough hockey. So
Oh man,
You gotta leave the house if you want to watch
are you? You're originally from Sterling Heights, right? Is that where you are?
no, I'm an hour north. I'm in a place called Marine City. It's
okay.
just a little town on the St. Clair River, which connects Lake Huron and Lake St. Clair. Like I said, it's about an hour north of Detroit.
Okay. Yeah, they were just in town last night. Actually, I went down and saw some of the guys. Yeah, it was cool to see. That's one thing I miss is just like seeing my other buddies, the equipment guys and stuff. But I got down there to see Patrick Kane and Cam Talbot, Alex Lyon, who played last night, who Talbs and Al played here for a brief stint. So it was pretty cool to see those guys. I was going to ask you, when you were coaching, you coached Travis Konecny for I think only about 30 games, but was he a little shit disturber when he was playing for you? Did you let him do his thing?
Yeah, I loved him. I mean, that's how we played. Is what you see there.
Yeah.
I've obviously kept tabs on him. probably one of my favorite players to come through there. And yeah, unfortunately, we did only have him 30 games or whatever it was there. But we thought honestly he would be back, for another full season. That was a bit of a disappointment, but for us in Sarnia.
Right.
But for him it was great. That same year we had Chychrun, Zata, and Konecny.
Oh,
Oh
Jesus.
man, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you
And,
had Zaka too, man. I didn't realize you had Chychrun. Wow.
Yeah, and we lost all three of those guys as underage players. So
Wow.
That's pretty rare, isn't it? Lose 3 like that in all
it's
one
really
year.
rare. I think there was 11 that year in the world, and we had 3 of them. And Chicky was
Wow.
an 18-year-old too, not
Wow.
So yeah, but. Yeah,
Those are 3 tough players to lose.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's hard to replace.
Yeah.
You got some passion. You got
Yeah.
some soul there for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I tell you what, this Chychrun, man, I saw him a few weeks ago. He is an absolute monster, Hatch. Jesus, he's put together, man.
He's always been like, even in juniors, he was like that.
Really?
I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, he was like that in juniors. Yep.
Built like a Greek god.
Hey, he is. He has I saw some footage a couple weeks ago, and he already had his shoulder pads and everything. He had the cutoff shirt on. I guess I'd wear a cutoff shirt too.
Yeah.
If I had guns like that, it looked like I was waiting for him to give the
Rock
old Hulk
solid,
Hogan.
yeah.
Jesus, he's jacked, man.
Yeah, he's always been like that. Yep.
He's been a little injury prone, I guess, the last couple of years, but
And
hopefully
that
he can stay healthy.
you know how it is, Riles. When you're built like that, I think a lot of times that it can go against you a little bit too.
Yeah, and I've learned from experience too. Yeah, it's just the amount of stress that you're attaching to the body, probably above and beyond that's necessary. You get consumed with this idea that you have to like almost overtrain, right? And I think that's when you get into trouble. Guilty for that, and I know I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I'm assuming maybe that some of that is tied to maybe overstressing the body, but.
Well, that's the first thing that goes through my mind. Yeah, the joints of your body, right? It's tough on them.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think that's kind of, like comes with like experience, and the wisdom comes along with it, right? Is like as you get older, it's like you realize you don't need to do as much. It's really about self-preservation and really focusing on recovery, right? As you get into your later part.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I was going to ask Hatch about the coaching aspect. I will get into your play career as well, but you played under Hitch a couple different times. Obviously, went in a cup with him as well. But when you became a head coach, did you do as much video as Hitch, or did you have any of his? Did you take anything away from him or any of your other coaches? I know Johnny Stevens was your coach for a little bit, for a couple years here when he took over for Hitch. Just wondered what kind of coaching style you had, because you're a scary dude. If you don't know you're like Homer that way. Like I was scared to death of you first few weeks just because I was like, I don't want to do anything stupid. But Homer. But he's such a great guy. But it's just funny because people that don't know Homer, they're seeing, they're like, dude, he looks like he's gonna kill someone. I'm like, he's actually awesome.
Yeah.
I'm still scared of Homer.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
But
no, you're right. He's an intimidating dude.
He is.
But back to the coaching style. You know what? I guess you take something from all of them. At the end of the day, you have to be you. I wasn't. Hitch was a huge yeller. We all three of us know that, right? And
right.
I wasn't like that. But I mean, Hitch, with that said, was a great preparer. Did we do video? Of course we did video. You have to do video, and I think we just kind of went along our lines with what we thought we should do. I don't know if I really purposely went out of my way to try to be like someone. I think we just did what we wanted to do, and I was a little more. We didn't yell at these kids. We know. It is. I mean, the times are different, right? You can't
right.
yell. You try to teach them as much as possible. There's a time, when you have to yell them or you pull them in the office and say let's go, or eventually your ice time's gonna be took, right? But I mean, try not to embarrass kids. Try to treat them with respect. And honestly, I think that's what we did in Sarnia. We had a lot of agents and players say that Sarnia. I think Sarnia always had kind of a bad reputation, to be honest with you. And I think we helped. I think I helped change that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, the evolution of coaching. Hey, you saw it to extreme, probably. growing up and having that old school coach, that the old school coaching, or is essentially fear-based coaching, right? And to what you're talking about is the new, say the new ways, but probably the way is teaching, right? You got to teach.
You have to teach.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird because my first coach was Bob Danny, and I don't know if you guys know Bob at all, but he would have been total opposite of Hitch. Bob wouldn't say a word.
Right.
Like, he literally wouldn't say a word. And then he might pull you aside in the next day in practice and give you a few pointers, what have you not. And I loved Bob. I love Bob. I see him once a year. I love Bob Danny, but then I went to Hitch, who was total opposite, right? Like, his Hitch was different. Hitch.
Yeah.
He's great at preparation. Hitch. I remember we were flying out somewhere. Might have been for the World Cup in '96, to be honest with you, or 90. 96, and we met at the rink, and we had to meet at the rink at like 5:30. And Hitch was, he was already at the rink doing whatever he was doing in August. We were like,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you doing here? But that's the way he was. He loved the game, But to our point, every coach is different. But I think nowadays it's definitely way different.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a different mentality, different game, obviously, with the players, and I guess the way, like you said, Hatch, the way you got to coach.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on? You mentioned we watch a little bit of hockey. Maybe touching on like the Flyers. I would say John Tortorella is probably one of the last standing like old school coaches. Maybe what you see with him, and being the guy for this young team in the middle of a rebuild.
Well, I from what you see, it's what they needed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I would say it. I personally believe I would have got along with Torts. I know he has that reputation where some guys really didn't like him, and you talk to some and they seem to love him. And, for some reason, I think I would have got along with him. Maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know. But I think that at the stage where the Flyers are at, I think that's what they need. I think they need a guy that's going to be a little bit tougher and, show these kids this is the way it is.
Yeah.
We agree. We talk about this all the time, and they're right there. I mean, they're 2 points out of a wild card right now, and they're playing some pretty damn good hockey.
Really
and he's got them playing a brand of hockey that's it's suited for obviously for Philly, but just for doing the job with minimal. I would say minimal talent, but limited talent, I guess you could say. They're finding ways to win games, tight games. They got the goaltending going now, but it's pretty interesting to see the energy and what he's doing there.
And the reality is, come playoff time, that's how you have to play.
Exactly.
Yes.
We know that, and I think Edmonton was a bit of a, we'll see what they do this year. I'll stop there. But, but we'll see what they do. I think there may be the one exception with the amount of talent they have there. But I think if they played the right way, they could be, I think they'd be almost unstoppable. You know what I mean? And you looked at a team like Florida. Everyone says they're the nastiest team, right? Like that's what wins. That's what wins in the playoffs. It still is. People don't say it, but look at the teams that have won it in the past, and that's what wins.
I feel like we talked about before. We had Craig Berube on Chief, and he was saying too, like if you look at the last teams, like you just alluded to, Hatch, they're heavy teams. They're hard to play. Yep. They're hard to play against, and it fucking wears you out, man. I mean, I don't know that as a player, obviously, but watching for so long.
Yeah, you've seen it though.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like what you guys go through in these playoff runs, man. People have no idea, but those teams seem to win.
Yeah,
it's a grind. It's an absolute grind, and that's exactly what Chief said there, right? They're the bigger, they're strong teams that are hard to play against. Because reality is, over the course of a series, that affects you.
Yeah, it really does.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's probably never going to change either, right? I mean, even if like the speed of the game, all this stuff, it's that element's never going to change. I don't think.
I don't think so. I really don't. That element will always be there, and right after that, I don't know, the first lockout in 2004 there. I think we went through a span of a year and a half where all the new rules were still kind of being filtered through, and when what would work, what wouldn't work. But I mean, to me, it's always been the same. People always say it a lot, and I'm like, watch it closely. Watch playoff hockey closely. Now the regular season's softened up quite a bit, I find.
Yeah.
But you watch playoff hockey, and watch the way they finish hits. They're finishing. They're not just rubbing you out. They're finishing. So
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. You mentioned the rule changes there in like 04, 05. I know it was kind of like on the tail end of your career. Like how was that? Because that was kind of like the I don't say that the ushering in of like the quote unquote like the I don't want to say the new NHL they were calling it at the time, but a more speedy game, open game,
Less of
um,
the hooking,
less
the
hooking,
clutching,
clutching, and
all
grabbing,
that.
all that stuff. They went gangbusters calling obstruction there for however long, and then it seemed to dissolve. But talk about maybe the adjustment to that and like what you've seen with the evolution of the game since then.
well, I think when it first came in, they were still trying to get a feel for it. I really do. They almost were taking the emotion out of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
And hockey, I believe, is the most emotional sport of any sport there is. And I think they realized pretty quick you couldn't take the emotion out, and so they kind of were letting it back in. And then, it has evolved. I think hockey's, I would like to see the regular season toughen up a little bit. But as far as playoff goes, I think they're great. I think they're at a good point. I like where it's at now, and it definitely has evolved over the last 15 years, whatever it's been there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually hard to
Like,
believe.
that's 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
really hard to
the
believe it.
skill level too. Like you see some of these young kids coming up and like just trying things. Like I don't know. Back in the day, like the mentality, I'm sure you would have just chopped some of these guys up for some of the stuff. But like so, the skill level, the stuff they're trying is like
Yeah.
is incredible, and not even just trying, like actually
Pulling it off.
successfully pulling
Yeah.
it off. Some of
Oh,
these
yeah.
plays.
Yeah, but it's kind of what we talked about, the way the sport has evolved. But it's the fundamentals, right? Skating, passing, shooting, right? Like, and with that comes your hands and all that, and you can see kids out on the ice at a youth age. I coached youth hockey in Philadelphia for 5 years, and
Yeah.
you could see them trying stuff. They would see one guy do it in college or in pro, wherever. And then so they start trying that stuff. And to me, that's just an evolution of the game. I think if you look at, I think every sport does it. I think if you looked at a football game 10 years ago, you'd say, oh my gosh, what are we watching? Or a basketball game 10 years ago.
Yeah.
For any sport, I think they've all kind of, they're different, but they all evolve.
That's it.
Yeah.
How would you have defended the Michigan Hatch?
Honestly, I just would have let him come around and hit him.
A mission right across your wrist.
Yeah, if you're gonna, or if I was by it, if you're gonna put your body in that situation, you just lay them out. I know it's not that easy. I know they're behind. I know they're protected a bit, but
Yeah.
I would have found a way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know you would have. Yeah.
It's hilarious. My son Hatch Elvis is 10 and he plays AAA hockey here for PHC over at Hollydale. And a couple of years ago, I mean, this is when he was 8. We were playing the Avalanche. I don't know if they were around when you were coaching your Comcast team, but they have a good program. And these kids they were 8. This kid tried a Michigan, and after the first period, I said, if that kid does that again, he better be wearing that stick of yours right across the back of his legs.
It only takes once.
I know.
Yeah,
It only takes once.
Elvis is like looking at me. I'm like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Little street cred,
so,
little
yeah,
space.
exactly. So anyway, yeah, it's funny. It's starting early, man. Like these kids,
Oh, man.
the shit
Oh,
they
yeah.
do. He's,
Yep.
Elvis is 10 or 2014s, and some of the stuff they do. We've had a kid score 2 Michigans this year. Jakey Merrow scored.
Really?
Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're 10 years old. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was going to mention really quick. I don't know. When you coached that team, I remember, I think we had a half of a lockout, and I finally got over to see your team, and Colin Felix was playing on your team with God. Who else? You had Carson, Briere. You had a lot
We
of
had Whitey.
Matthias.
Peter,
Yeah.
We
Stoney.
had
Yeah.
Matthias, Peter. Yep.
Wow.
Not
What a
Peter,
team.
Stone,
They were good.
Whitey.
And it was,
teaming in.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Team
Yeah,
up.
I know. Yeah, I had all their kids. I was like a babysitter.
Yeah.
I used to drive them around all the time too. I was literally like a babysitter. I should have been getting paid.
Man. I had a Saturday, Cat, Chris Felix, the late great Cat. He's like, hey, like we're playing. I'm like, fine, all right, good, because I want to come see. I hadn't seen Colin skate since he was 4. So anyway, I go watch it. And Hatch, you guys were playing, I think the Capitals, a team from Washington, obviously, and you guys, they look like a pro team. Like they're breaking out. I mean, Colin's was skating like the wind. I was like, because Cat wanted him to play hockey so bad, he loved it. And Colin went on to win the national championship a couple years ago, but he fought Matt Rimpe a couple weeks ago too. I was just going to bring that up and see if you happen to catch that. Yeah, he actually fought Rimpe. He's up in the American League, Colin, and Rimpe was down, but he stood in there, man.
Yeah.
I think we posted it on our thing, but Colin's been pro for about 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, but he's a hard nosed player. He plays tough, but it was just funny because you had him and then Carson's overseas playing, doing well. But that team you had was what a wagon, man! Like they were so good. I'm like watching, like you can tell it's a guy that knows the game that's coaching because his kids played like pros, man. It was awesome.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure the opposing teams were just like shaking their heads when you guys are coming through too.
We were to stop Hatch real quick. We were up in Pittsburgh for a tournament a couple weeks ago. We played the Columbus. Well, they're called the Ohio Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
Dave Steckel coaches them. His twins played on the team. Derek Dorsett.
Oh yeah,
his kid was on the team. Rick Nash's kid was on the team, and one other. Former NHL team. We beat them though.
Did you?
Not a bad deal. no, but they're really good.
Oh,
we hung on to beat them. Yeah, it was a good game. But anyway, it's funny when you see kids, and then I really feel old when I see guys I had as players like Casper Kapanen. I see him. Remember, he was used to cruise around the rink with his little hat on, and now I just saw him a few weeks ago. He's in NHL and. Mark Gregg, I'm sure. I don't know if you remember Mark. Do you remember Gregor? Yeah, you remember Gregor Ridley to sign a new deal. But
how old is he?
Ritter would be what 23
now. How old's Mark?
Gregor.
Greg would be Mark. He's probably.
I think he's my age. That's
yeah. I bet you he is. Yeah, he's around that. He's a scout with the Flyers still.
I think we were the same draft year, possibly. That's why.
Okay.
Or it was right there, anyways. But
yeah. So anyway, it's just funny seeing guys like that. It really makes me feel old. When they were running around the locker room and stuff.
Yeah, when you're coaching them 20 years ago and you're seeing them playing pro.
Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah, no doubt. So talk about the early days being drafted by Minnesota North Stars and some obviously early success, high pick, different brand of hockey. Just maybe talk about the evolution into I guess it was the Dallas Stars a couple years later, just the organizational change.
Yeah, no, that well, Bob Clark drafted me. I don't know if you guys know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Clarky drafted me, but yeah, you know what? I was just one of those kids happy to get drafted, to be honest with you. To give you a little bit of a, like I see kids nowadays don't want to go here, don't want whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, like come on, like can't you just be happy?
Right.
It's not everything's perfect,
Right.
But, so no, I
was
was ecstatic to be drafted, and obviously go back to North Bay for a year after that, and. I remember when I do remember my second training camp in Minnesota there that Bob Daney called me in the office and said, Derian, he always called me Derian. You're going to start the team out with us. And, I still remember today how excited I was because we were staying at a hotel right across the street there. And I walked back to the hotel and, I was just being so excited, And,
I'm sure.
Then, played 2 years in Minnesota. And I remember Mike Madonna come up to me. I don't know. There's probably about 10 games left in the season in my second year. And he goes, hey, Hatch, I think we're moving down to Dallas. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, whatever. I remember that,
Yeah.
And he'd say, it's going to be awesome and this and that. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Like I said, I didn't care. I wanted to play, But I guess for me, being part of that transition, going from Minnesota, moving the team to Dallas, literally, I jumped in my car and I drove down. You know what I mean? It wasn't a big thing, And so for me, the transition was easy. As things worked out in Dallas, it was great. I was there in Dallas 10 years and then 2 in Minnesota.
Right.
So 12 total. But my 10 years in Dallas was great. We developed a good team pretty quick. Won a lot of hockey games, a lot of divisions, went to a couple Stanley Cup finals. So my years there were great, and it was a great organization. Tom Hicks was the owner for most of it. Norm Green was great too. But, Tom Hicks, Bob Daney at the time then was GM. He wanted to win, and it showed.
Well, not a bad climate change either. I mean,
I was gonna say.
if you like the cold, it's what.
But I was young enough then. I was 19.
You didn't
20
care?
years old. Well, no one like today in Detroit, like for whatever, we're in that Arctic air. No one likes the cold. Okay,
No, they don't.
but
They do
I
not.
didn't care. I remember. Do you remember Mike Craig at all, Nasty?
Yeah.
Okay, so like him and and I don't know if anyone knows this to today, like getting back to just like playing, we would bring our skates home the odd time from the rink, and we'd go out on a pond and skate. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like as we were
That's awesome.
professional hockey players, we'd bring our gloves, our skates, and a stick.
That's
And
awesome.
we would. I remember we didn't do it a lot, but we may have did it 2 or 3 times over a couple of years. And so no, I didn't mind the cold weather. But you're right, the weather's much nicer down in Dallas.
Yeah,
I like a lot of the
especially
restaurants there too.
right. Especially you got older, probably enjoying a little bit more.
Yeah.
No,
For
that's
sure.
the truth.
It's to talk about the, I guess probably a few years there, but like the leadership group, especially when you won the Stanley Cup there. But it seemed like every name on those teams were like, leaders, from other teams, and you basically glued together a team of leaders, and obviously had success.
Well, and Bob Daney, if you look, he brought in a lot of ex-Montreal Canadiens.
Right.
I mean, going way back, he brought Ludwig in. But that's going way back to Minnesota. But then he brings in like D. Tarbino, Joe Nieuwendyk.
Yeah.
And when we won the cup, Mike Keane, Brian Strudland.
That's right.
So we had, and I hope I'm not forgetting anyone, and I'm sure I am, but we had a ton of guys, and getting back to Bob Daney real quick though, when he named me captain, I forget. You know what? I think it was my 3rd year, maybe after 3.5 years. He didn't even tell me.
Come on.
To sum the story up, he was going to start rotating the captain through. It was me, Madonna. I forget. There was like 5 players. He's going to rotate the C through and it only lasted like a week or whatever. And or maybe we were rotating these. It's a long time ago, so it's But I came in the room one day, and the C was on my jersey, and players were looking at me, and my jersey, it was backwards.
Okay.
And so I had no idea, and I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? And they're like, flip your jersey around, and the C was on it. And I was like, oh. I had no idea. To this day, Bob Daney.
That's how quiet he is.
True story. Like,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
oh my God.
never to this day. Never, and I told you I see him once a year, and never said a word about it. I should probably ask him, but
ask him about it.
That was a long time ago, though, so I don't know. But,
that's
what was
awesome.
going through your head there, Gaines?
Yeah, right.
No, it's why, and all that. But anyways, getting back to that though, we had we had quite the group there. We really did, and it's easy looking back. Looking back, I always say it feels like we should have won more than one cup. And maybe if Joe Nieuwendyk doesn't, there's always ifs and buts, right, with injuries. But,
right.
But we did. We had quite the group there.
How does you got I think Brett Hull, and just I can imagine how these conversations go. You got Hitch, and I
heard a few different.
It's almost like the team runs itself, almost, right? You got just so many guys that just know how to win and know how to play the game. It's it's probably an easy job almost for Hitch.
You just said it, Riles. The core group of us learned to win, and then they just kept bringing in guys that knew how to win, and
right.
And that's what it was. We knew how to win games. They weren't pretty all the time. Sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't. Sometimes we had Eddie. Belfort would play unbelievable, whatever it was. But no, Holly was, him and I, imagine that. Him and I used to sit in the back of the bus together. Sometimes if there's not 3 seats back there and there's only 2 seats, it would get pretty tight back there. But
oh, that's great.
Oh yeah, and he used to bitch all the time. To be honest, all the time.
I'm sure.
About everything. I'm just like, oh my gosh, Holly. Seriously, it's like, what? I'm right. I can't do his voice. I wish I could. And I'm like, okay, you know what? You might be right, Holly, but just, you know what? Let's just
pump the brakes here.
But the good part is we'd have the case of beer under our legs. So
I was going
right.
to say, what were you guys doing back there?
we had the case of beer under our legs, but I'm telling you, it was tight on some of those buses. Oh my gosh. And sometimes if you're 45 minutes from the, depending on what airport you come into, 45 minutes away, and neither one of us would move, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
This Saturday night, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship invades Wells Fargo Center for the biggest fighting event to ever hit Philly. Watch Philadelphia's own Eddie the Underground King Alvarez attempt to humble the arrogant and undefeated Jeremy Lil Heathen Stevens. Also, the largest bare knuckle fighting heavyweight showdown ever. Mick Terrell defends his world title against Big Ben Rothwell. And the savage female fight, Taylor Killabee Starling versus Rowdy Beck Rawlings. Limited seats remain. Avoid the sellout. Get your tickets now at BKFC.com.
I was going to say, Hatch, I remember for the World Cup, which was a huge deal for U.S. hockey, obviously ended up winning the tournament. Homer was assistant coach with his flat top. He still got it. He tells Riley he likes his beard, but he's full of shit. I don't think he really does. Riggs thinks he does. But I was going to say it was pretty cool. You got to play with your brother, Kevin, obviously. Yeah. And then I just got to ask you, like, obviously it was great because you won, but how was that the first time you guys got to play together?
No, we were in Dallas before that.
For 2 years, right?
Yeah.
2 seasons, okay.
Yeah.
So that must have been awesome.
Actually, that was the first lockout. So Kevin came in, so it was like a season and a half.
Okay.
And then they moved Kevin on to Pittsburgh there. But, the World Cup, just the whole experience about the World Cup was awesome. You know what? It really was. I mean, it was great. You know what the best part was? Honestly, I mean, obviously we won, but I remember this, and I did ask this a lot, and I say it, but going into Montreal, and that's where we won it, in Montreal.
Yep.
And winning it felt pretty damn good.
Pretty good feeling, yeah, man.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because Derek, you would have remembered, because you would have been there, right? Yeah.
I helped out when you guys, for the week that you were in Philly.
Philly, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was just like, Team Canada was there too. So you're just like all-star, just 40, 45, 46, however many players, you're just like, holy shit. I mean, it's Gretzky, Messier.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
And it's crazy how I was fortunate enough, Hatch. I don't know if you knew this, but I got to do the Olympics in 2010. We lost in the silver medal. We won the silver medal, but lost in the gold medal game. And I've done a few world championships. It's so much fun, but being around you guys that week was just awesome. I mean, Billy Guerin, like, he was young, dude. He's like doing flips into the hot tub and shit. I'm like, this guy's gonna get hurt. Like, these guys, but it was just so much fun being around that. And then to follow it the next couple games and we win, or you guys won. It was really, really exciting.
Yeah, because we opened up the rink there. What was it called back then?
Yeah, Wells, Wachovia. Was it called?
Was it? Either way,
Core State. Was it Core State Center?
I think it was. Maybe
something like that.
Either way, we opened it up there. Yeah.
Yep, it was awesome, and that game too, man. It was fucking physical, man. Guys trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
Lemieux fought. I can't remember if Lemieux fought Billy Guerin or.
I think I fought Primo.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts, man. Yeah. It was awesome though.
Yeah.
We played Hatch. I also got to do the 2016 World Cup. With USA, and we played a pre-tournament game in Columbus against Team Canada, and it was the same way. I mean, you would have thought this was for the gold.
Really?
That game, it was so physical. Guys just MFing each other, like, some teammates.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter when it comes to
guys
that.
Are proud.
But that was cool, and you got to share that with your brother, which had to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, that was great. It really was. Like I said, winning it was unbelievable, and just everything about it was great.
Could you imagine if we ended up winning that game in Vancouver? God almighty. Got it to overtime, lost. Sid scored in overtime in 2010, but that place wouldn't have known what to do.
Oh, my God.
It would have been meltdown.
It would have been meltdown.
It's just like the World Championships. It just finished. Or World Juniors.
Finished.
Yeah.
The
USA Hatch, back to back, baby.
Yeah. Well, I can see Canada where I'm at on the river. I have Canada on the other side, and all their flags were a half mast. When they lost to, did they lose to Finland?
Who did they lose? No, Czech, didn't they? Did they lose to Czech?
Yeah, in the quarterfinals, it was Czech, yeah.
Yeah, it was Czech, yeah.
They're revamping the hockey. The
Are they
Hockey Canada
revamping now?
program, yeah.
I don't want to get too cocky. We got the Four Nations coming up. Are you excited to watch that?
Yeah, I will watch that. I'm curious how it goes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm curious how hard. I guess I'm curious how hard they play. To be honest, I hope it's I hope it's balls to the wall. You know, here we are type of thing. And then it'll be unbelievable. You know, so.
It will be.
Yeah, no doubt.
And not to mention, you played on two. You played in two Olympics, if I'm not mistaken, in '98 and 2006. I think is what it was.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you enjoy? I know you didn't win gold or anything, but did you enjoy it? Was it a pretty good experience?
You know what? I say it all the time. I thought it was unbelievable. You know, and in the first one, Kevin was there as well.
Yep.
You know, just to be there, staying in the village, get out and go see some events, and it's it was great. You know, and the second one, I got to bring a few of my kids to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
But it was you know, and I think that's the year. The first one, I believe, we finished 8th, and Canada finished 7th, and that's after the World Cup, and that was coming off the World Cup pretty much, and a lot of people were kind of saying, and I was like, you know what, it sucked what happened out there, but you know what, the experience was still great for me, and both of them, it really was.
Yeah, I always tell people, probably sick of hearing it, but those 2 weeks in Vancouver might have been two of the best weeks I ever had. I mean, I remember I told Riles, the first game, like going to the bench and then like seeing the rings and like I'm like, holy shit. I know I'm not a player, but I'm still, you know, part of the team, and just, oh my God, it was just one of the coolest things probably the coolest thing I've ever been able to do. I was fortunate enough to do. I had so much fun. My liver needed a break. Not going to lie. In Van there. Yeah. I didn't get much sleep either, which I never really did. But
I was going to say that's nothing new.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
You already primed for that
experience. I was ready for it.
Yeah, you were. I'm sure you were absolutely ready for it.
The best, Hatch, I'll say it real quick because he's heard it 100 times. But the one night I kind of lost track of what was going on. Ended up looking at the time, and I'm like, oh my God, it's 6:30, and I was somewhere, and I jump in a cab, and I get back, and this gentleman that I would see every day, he was actually from Chicago. They brought people in from everywhere to like work. Like, so I'm going into the village, and I must have looked like hell. And he's like, and all you could see on my credential was like U.S. hockey, like didn't say anything else, I guess. But he was like, oh man, what are you doing? We got a game today. I'm like, bro, I don't play, don't worry. I just got to make sure everything's ready for the boys. Because I must have looked like shit.
Oh, man.
But I had pulled an all-nighter there.
Hey, I don't know how you do it, though, because we always say you guys work the hardest, man. You guys are up late. People don't realize, you know, you get off the plane, you guys go to the rink, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how you pulled an all-nighter and still were. I'm sure you had everything ready already, but
we did.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure you did. But either way, that next day, game day is a long day for you.
It is
a long day, but I'll tell you what. While I was there, man, your adrenaline. It's just like
feeding off it.
I don't think I was tired until we got on the plane to go to Tampa, because we went straight to Tampa to play, and we got shit kicked.
Yeah.
We had about 4 or 5 guys on the plane, Bronx, and we had a few guys. But anyway, my point was, it must have been pretty cool to share that with your bro.
Yeah, it was. It was great. It really was.
Hatch, I wanted to ask you about like the USA hockey program, and just like maybe what you've noticed over the years since you've been a part of it forever, and just seeing where it's at now. It seems like, you know, back in the day, it was maybe Canada, arguably, like, you know, I don't want to say like the global leader some bit, you know, but it seems like the Americans
they were. It's okay, Rob.
Yeah,
they were.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe still are, you know, I mean, it's hard to say, but
it seems like, US is kind of like right there, and they have been, but like, it seems like they've taken that next step. Would you agree, or what are you seeing on that side?
Well, you know, I've had this conversation numerous times for years, and I think one of the biggest things is well, there's 2 things. First of all, I think you have a lot of ex-players coaching their kids,
right?
Which I think helps. You know, a lot of people don't like player coaches dad coaches,
right?
And But I think, I don't know, I can't say this for all players because I don't know, but I think like myself, I was coaching my son, but I didn't treat him any different. And if anything, I was a little harder on him. But I think when you get the guys that know the game, it just helps the kids. They understand you got to teach the fundamentals, and that if we win tomorrow, it's not the end of the world. It's just as long as we're doing stuff the right way. I know the Comcast organization, you could probably ask Danny about it. I had his kids there pretty much the whole time. And, we built that, we built it up. And, but I think that's one thing is you get all these guys that are helping coach or coaching and understand you gotta teach these kids the fundamentals of the game. And the next thing is, the reality is the United States is 10 times bigger population-wise.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
Right. And this is a lot of the conversations and a lot of times in the United States, your athletes aren't playing hockey first. They're playing other sports.
That's right.
But now I think what you're seeing is more and more kids are playing hockey. And as that continues to go, we'll see what happens. But I think that's part of it too, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, you're seeing, players being developed out of, California, from, Alabama,
Arizona.
like obviously Arizona, right? The programs are just growing and growing.
Florida has great programs,
Yeah.
And even Dallas has a great program. Their youth teams are always there at the Nationals, or usually are. And I think the more and more kids play, it's just population, right? It's just,
That's right.
It makes sense. The more kids you have play, your odds go up.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, and did your earlier point, like you see, I look at like the Kachucks, and like to what you're saying, it makes a ton of sense. Like you have a father that played a certain brand, like naturally, like having coaches like that around these kids, like. Just,
I'm actually a little worried about Walt after I saw that picture today.
Yeah, Walt. Walt.
I didn't see it.
Oh, he's big.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm worried about him. No, I'm kidding. He's awesome.
No, he's been like that forever.
yeah, I know. Yes.
Remember, I think we're talking about the guy that got suspended for being out of shape in training camp.
Yeah, right. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome though.
But it's a good point though, but I guess like where we are, with the the growing of youth hockey programs around NHL teams down south. I mean, it can only go one way. It's just gonna keep it's gonna keep expanding, right? I mean, the population in Canada is not growing anytime soon, and there's really no pockets in Canada that haven't been tapped for hockey yet. So I don't see that really. We have to go back to the drawing board now.
Yeah.
see what's up. But yeah, I want to get your perspective on that. But that makes a ton of sense. The size and the amount of players that have kids that play, it's actually incredible.
And even a lot of the Canadian guys stay in the U.S. too, right, Riles?
That's right.
And they have kids, and their kids are, I'm assuming, dual citizens, but
yeah.
But a lot of times they stay on that U.S. side. It seems like you're seeing that more now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
For sure. I was going to ask Hatch just to get a little Knuckles involved. I think you had like 60 plus fights, and I guess it goes with territory where you're 6'5" and you play a heavy physical game. Was there any fight that sticks out as like it was your favorite one, or I don't want to say favorite, but I mean your best one, or is there anyone you're like got into a scrap and you're like, oh boy, you seem to play fearless, but
my first fight was it's the year I made the team, I believe. Sorry, I had to adjust. And I fought it was Mike Peluso was my first fight.
Oh wow.
But he fell pretty quick, so that wasn't but I remember Darren Kimball. We were in Chicago, and that's when he was in Chicago. And kind of a quick funny story for you guys. I forget, first or second year in the league, Mark Tenorti's the captain at the time, and we're in Chicago on New Year's Eve. And that's before we got out of there, so we were staying the night no matter what. But Bob Gainey had told Mark Tenorti, hey, no matter what, we have a game 2 days later, we have an early morning, so we're going to have a curfew, right? And this is kind of one of my favorite fights, but so we go into Chicago, and this was in, the old black and blue division, and big game. We beat them 4-1. And, we had Shane Turle, Basil Matrey. There's about 5 fights, and I think we won every fight. But then too, I fought Darren Kimball, and probably one of my most lopsided wins ever.
Okay.
And so that might be my favorite fight. Brendan Shanahan was, I fought him like 6 times, but getting back to it, Bob Daney comes in after at the end of the game, and everyone knows Bob Daney's an old school guy, and just comes in the room and says, "Gentlemen, no curfew tonight."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
He loved it.
Yeah.
He loved it.
But getting back to it, like I remember Darren Kimball sticks out because it was a good fight too. It just wasn't, it was a good fight, and I think Shanny and I had a lot of good fights as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, one against Big E there in Philly too. I think.
Yeah, I think
it's kind of.
I grew up with
fight.
but that one, the one in Philly, was just Riley. It was 2 big guys, right? Just,
Yeah.
Neither one of us probably wanted to get hurt, to be honest with you, but
Yeah.
that was 2 big guys. That wasn't a great fight. I mean, I've had a lot of fights, but a few of them do stand out. I think I fought Big E like 3 times. I fought him. We played juniors against each other.
Oh wow.
Okay.
We fought in juniors, and honestly, I think that's one of Bob Clark's biggest things why he liked me so much.
Okay.
All right.
Because back then, Lindros was like, I think they called him the teenage terror or something, right? Because he was that size as a midget, right, or whatever, And
Jesus.
and I guess and I fought him in junior, but I remember talking to Minnesota, Bob Clark and their starting staff, and they just kept asking me like, "Well, why did you fight Lindros?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, "It happened," and they're like, "Well, did you not know who he is?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I knew who he was, but it just happened." I mean,
Yeah.
But I think that was one of the biggest reasons Bob Clark liked me, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
Really? Hey?
yeah, I mean, I had a lot of good fights over the years, but usually the ones with Shanny and I were pretty good fights. He would strip down and all this stuff there, so you have nothing to grab onto. But
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, I know, right?
But
I was also going to ask you. Obviously, we mentioned you being in the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, and were there any like U.S. born defensemen that like influenced your game or you're a big fan of, or any defenseman that you kind of like wanted to pattern your game after, like as you were growing up?
yeah, I did ask that obviously too, and I would say it was Kevin, my brother.
Okay.
I was when he started playing, I was 13.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, my parents had one of those big giant satellite dishes. And so we would move it around, and, we were able to watch probably 80% of his games, maybe more,
Okay.
and it was always summer. You could always find it somewhere. And so I think it was probably him. And it wasn't purposely done. It's just from watching him so much. Because I actually had a few players, and Bob Clark might have been one. Bob Daney might have been one. Said, you know what, you guys play different, but you do a lot of things like your brother.
Okay.
And they used to tell me that, and I was just once again I was like, okay. But so I would say it was him. It was definitely my favorite player growing up, and just watching him so much and watching other guys on his team. I was more of a hitter. And now thinking about it, I watched Scott Stevens forever because he was in Washington.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with the hitting and stuff like that, right? And so I think it was just I didn't purposely do it. I just think it was from watching the game.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense that probably almost organically happened, right? It's just you just watch and you watch and you just take it on.
Literally every game, like every game we got, which was a high percentage of them, we would sit down, have popcorn, and watch them play.
Yeah,
no, that's awesome.
That good microwave popcorn, Riles.
Yeah, yeah, right. With the real organic butter.
Real. Yeah, real. I was going to ask you. We kind of spoke about the Flyers a few minutes ago, but you were teammates with Danny your last year, Danny B, and in 2007-08, and just looking back then. I mean, obviously you never know, but what do you think of the job he's doing? And did you ever think that maybe he would get into what he's doing?
Well, I think if you know Danny, I think most people would say he would probably end up somewhere.
Yeah.
Doing what he does. Well, he's just so well spoken, and
right.
And I'm trying to look for the right words. He's just
student of the game.
Yeah, maybe? He's a student of the game. He's well spoken. He can talk to anyone.
Yeah.
So even to obtain the job, I think it was probably easy. People naturally liked him because of the way he is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised at all. It seems like he's doing a good job. We talked about the Flyers a bit there. I don't watch him on a regular basis. I'm not going to lie to you. I do watch him. when I'm having a pint.
Yeah.
But with that, you know what, too, I think bringing Jonesy in was a great thing, too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think it's well deserved, and I've known Keith forever. We used to stayed across the river here in the summers.
Oh.
We used to stay together, and Kevin and him played in Washington, and
Yeah.
so kind of knew him off and on a little bit for a long time, and I think the two of them together, working together, I think that's a So I love Jonesy's mind for the game. I really do.
Yeah.
Even watching him on TV, I always liked what he said on TV. Whether it was, whether you disagreed or, I really liked that move by the Flyers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we say that all the time. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a great complimentary piece. And to what you're saying, like, I love listening to Jonesy. He was always, as I say, spot on. Like,
he was spot on. Yeah.
He was spot on. It just seemed like he gave a very honest and precise description of what he saw, and he was never, biased. He was just said it how he saw it, which you appreciate. But yeah, I think they've built a nice little surrounding cast too, right? Bringing some former players,
Johnny,
John LeClaire, Patrick Sharp, guys that have won, and seem to be trending in the right direction.
Yeah,
no, they do. Sure. They definitely do.
I was going to say, Riles, well, in the Hatch too, one of the things that pops up all the time is one of Sid's first games in Philly against you, getting drug around the ice a little bit. That came up the other day, and just all the comments are so funny, man. Like, obviously you remember that day. Like, were you targeting him just to try to say, hey, I'm going to push you out of the game? Because obviously the guy's still doing it, Hatch. He's unbelievable.
No, he's player. You know what? He's come such a long ways.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it. And, and that's anything. You know what? He was 18 years old.
Yep.
Right.
You mature, right? You mature as a player. You mature mentally. You mature physically. You just mature. And I think he's come a long ways. But to answer your question, no. You know what? It just happened. I remember him coming down the wall. There he was, and I hit him. And, you know what? I may have tagged him a little bit or whatever. I forget.
Yeah.
No penalty called, though. Hey.
No,
right?
no.
Well done.
And I tried to hit him. He was coming along the wall. He was right kind of in my wheelhouse there. And so you know what? And then I don't know. Was it 5 minutes later?
Yeah. I don't know.
And that one, you don't try that. No one would try that. You know what? Like I remember this probably because it's been talked about so much. Like I went to lift his stick, and it was I was extended a little bit, and I missed. And it came up and got him right in his teeth, lips there. And I think if I would have got a penalty, it wouldn't have been such a big deal, but I didn't get a penalty on that one either.
Right. Smooth.
But I never, but it still sparked that hatred in Philadelphia for him.
Yeah, it really did.
They already didn't like him, but then, after, like I said, he's come a long ways, but, after all the whining he did and I'll use the word tantrum, kind of a tantrum he threw on the ice.
Yeah.
At 18 years old, I don't think people in Philly really like that.
No,
yeah, they didn't. And you made the best point you made there is he's 18.
Yeah, right.
You're
forget.
like, what was I 18? Yeah. Like I would it's crazy to think, but I got to know him over the last few years, and I got to say, I say it all the time, and guys get all over me, my buddies in Philly, but he's an unbelievable human. Like he's just a great guy, and like you said,
that's why I stick up for him with it. I try to stick up for him too because he was 18. I'm sure he had a lot of, huge for the game of hockey, right? I don't know if he felt the pressure or not. Huge for the game of hockey. Obviously he's in a great position, but a tough position as well. Everyone's watching him. Everyone, but yeah. So that's why I do stick up for him on that too.
Yeah. And he was fresh out of, juniors. He's probably got a lot of help from their officials. You know what I mean? He's playing that card all day long and and working it.
So.
I was going to also say, I was telling Riles that I'll never forget. I think it was one of the last few games of our season in 2006 and 7. It was down the stretch anyway. We had a back-to-back. I think it was with Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And you never really, I never heard you really say anything to people like, yeah, I'm sure you did on the ice, but I'll never forget we were standing there and Jaroslav Spacek, if I'm saying that right. Some of the guys were saying something, and he turned around and made a comment, and you're sitting there and you just said, you have to play us tomorrow, right? Just calm as can be. And I was like, that was fucking awesome.
Spot check saying after
yeah, I
that.
know. And I was
Oh,
like, and
damn.
Tomer would say, I got wood.
Yeah.
it was I'll never forget that because like I said, I don't remember you ever like really yelling at anyone or your play kind of took care of that. But I remember you just saying, we got to play you again tomorrow. And
that's something I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. He just he did not turn back around. He was not looking back at the bench. One of the last things, Hatch, I wanted to ask you, like all your like accomplishments in the game, like is from the Olympics, from winning the World Cup, from a Stanley Cup, anything stand out as like, hey man, this was probably the best thing that happened to me in my hockey career?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I've thought about it a lot. I don't regret anything. I guess I would have took care of my knee a little bit more maybe, but outside of that, I don't regret anything. I had a lot of great memories, and you know what, like even the year in Philly there, my second year in Philly was a pretty damn rough year there, but you know what, it's still, it is what it is, right? And I had a lot of great things through hockey that honestly I never thought I would. Growing up, I don't know. I remember playing for the Stanley Cup or whatever, and just like I said, I enjoyed the game, and I think just being able to play that long, a lot of great memories. The memories that aren't so great, I've kind of pushed away, and it's just I have a lot of great memories, so it's a tough one to answer.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of games, and a lot of seasons the way you played, know, and I know you had your knee injuries towards the end and maybe earlier, I'm not even sure, but like to play that brand of hockey for that long and stay relatively healthy, it's pretty impressive.
Well, no, I appreciate it. I do appreciate that, but like I said, I like playing the game. I still love skating outside. Live in a small town here. Heather and I, we maintain the local ice rink. We go out there at night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Super cool.
Still like playing. I stay sometimes for the Flyers there. Stay with the Red Wings locally here. Sometimes I go into Dallas, do a few things there. But
oh, that's cool.
I still really like playing the game.
Yeah.
Love skating outside. I don't do it enough probably, but I do love skating outside.
Yeah, two-pass game going, Hatch.
Two-pass.
There you go. Yeah, there you go, Rob. Two-pass.
I'll have to make a trek up there.
Right here.
Yeah, that's right. Right. That's right. I have to say this too, Heather, your wife. She's so cool, man. But I called her Triple H one day, and Hatch is in the room, and Noobs was. I think it was Noobs. Was like
it was Noobs.
He was like, "Yo," and I'm like, "What?" Like he's like, "Don't." Hatch is like, "Don't call her that," and I was like, okay, my bad, man, because I was a hot Heather Hatcher. I called her Triple H, right? And then we were at a concert. I think we went to see Kid Rock, and it was a bunch of us. And we were standing there, and I was like, oh, where's Triple H? And I was like, sorry. And he's like, it's all right. And we had a couple beers, too. So,
well, I think how it went is Noobs kind of set you up a bit.
Yeah. You're right.
To be honest with you. And I think they came up and said, listen, I'm not mad at you. Like,
he probably,
I was
like, I'm sorry, man. It was a compliment, bro. Yeah.
No, I remember it. And that was a little bit shook.
Yeah, I was like, is he mad at me? He's just going to go boom.
Big Hatch is mad.
But anyway, Hatch, we can't thank you enough for your time, man. It's so good to catch up with you. I wish we say it to a lot of guys, man. It just sucks we don't get to stay in touch as much as we would like to.
I know. Yeah.
Hopefully, if you get to Philly for something, maybe an alumni event or something.
To get Brad Marsh invited to the next alumni game.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm invited to some of them. It's just a lot of them I can't make. I know Noobs, Canubo is trying to have me coming in the summer for the golf one.
Oh, good.
Yeah, definitely
that'd be awesome.
So I think I'm going to try to do that one for sure. But yeah, I would like to get in there, and we talked about it all the time. It's just how it is. It's fun all the time.
It's tough.
It's tough sometimes.
Life gets in the way.
Yeah, that's it. So.
All right, brother.
Well, appreciate it, Hatch. Great seeing you, man.
Yeah, man.
All right,
glad
guys.
you're well.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, say hey to Triple H for me.
I will.
She'll know what you mean. All right, buddy.
All right,
Thank
brother.
you.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later, man.
All right. Want to thank Hatch, Big Derian Hatcher, for joining us. What a legend. Guys, unbelievable, man. We got a little extra today, Riggs. Got a little surprise. We got David Feldman joining us, the founder and president of the fastest growing sport there is, and that's Bare Knuckle FC. Huge event this weekend. It's going to be unbelievable. We're lucky enough to get him to drop by and talk.
Looking forward to that.
Me
Here
too.
we go.
Let's go. All right, special guest Riggs.
Here we go.
He kind of liked your style of play back in the day. Founder and president of the fastest growing sport in the world, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Dave Feldman. What's up, brother?
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me, man. It's great to be here.
Dude, so pumped, man. So pumped to have you.
It's great to be here, man. I mean, we had this awesome event coming up here at the Wells Fargo Center, and we're pumped, man. Philly likes, as you know.
Yeah.
I said I'm the
fights.
first ever bare knuckle fight in the history of the sports complex, and then a lot of the Flyers came out and said, "Yo, man, we dropped the gloves plenty of times."
Right? Yeah. Forget about that. A little different look, though, in the bare knuckle
Sure.
fight championship. Maybe talk to that. You're from Philly, so obviously bringing this to Philly and the Wells Fargo Center is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm from Philly. It's been a long journey getting this thing legal. I started the whole thing actually about 13 years ago. Took me about 9 years to get it legal, and then since we got it legal, we just really skyrocketed, man. The trajectory has been unbelievable, man. But we had to go out and lobby all these different states so they would regulate it and they would make it legal in their respective states. And I'm from Pennsylvania, and they turned me down 9 times. 9 times.
To
I'm
be
blowing
sanctioned?
up all over the world. I'm selling out venues everywhere. Everywhere we go, we sell out. And now, finally, Ed Kunkel is the new commissioner. He came in, he said, this has to be here. 17,800 screaming fans will be there on Saturday night. The largest attendance in combat sports history in Philadelphia.
That is amazing. I'm
Congrats.
so
I mean,
excited.
Mike Tyson fought at the sports complex. Bernard
Yep.
Hopkins fought there. The UFC has fought there. But Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship was the largest crowd ever.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That is
It's
amazing.
pretty And when you talk about that time you spent, is that to get sanctioned?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Sanctioned and legal. And,
Yeah.
I'm trying to pitch this thing as, listen, it's not as dangerous as boxing or MMA. It's exciting. It's going to do this, going to do that. And I got nothing to pitch it with. It's just my opinion, right?
Right.
So that was so hard for me to change people's perception without having anything. Now I have facts. I have data. I have everything I need. And it just, the doors open a lot easier now.
Yeah.
What is the biggest hurdle with that? Is it liability? Like, what is is it just the bare knuckles?
It's just really perception.
Yeah,
because the data shows now we have data. We didn't have data then. Data shows we have less injuries than boxing or MMA. We have half the concussiveness of MMA and like 25% of the concussiveness of boxing. We have less hand breaks. We have less facial fractures. We only have more cuts. So they see the blood and they go, whoa.
Right.
We don't want to see that stuff, right? But it's so much, I don't want to say safer because I always say it's never safe to get hit in the head, right?
Right.
But it's no more dangerous than boxing or MMA at all.
Yeah, that's good insight. And there's always been a market for fights, right? I mean, humans since the start of time have just loved combat, right? The gladiator mentality, right? Two people
I mean,
just
look, you're a legend in hockey, but when you dropped the gloves and fought, the crowd went nuts.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you pass the puck or you score, they're going crazy.
Yeah.
You drop the gloves and fight, they're going nuts.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's just our human instinct. They want to see people fight. Look, we've all done it, right? That's why it's so relatable, bare knuckle fighting, because we've done it in school. We've done it. We've punched someone. We've been hit. We've saw somebody punch someone or saw someone get hit. Everybody gets it. They know what it is. So now we just have it in a very professional manner, and it's legal and it's regulated, and it's all great athletes doing this. So it just really starts to unwind right now.
It's amazing. I was going to say, just for you being from this area, the connection with Philly, this must mean a lot to you to get it here.
It's unbelievable. I mean, like every time I say the number, I get like the chills.
Yeah.
Right? Because I actually, there's a small arena called the 2300 Arena
Oh,
in
yeah.
South
Yep.
Philly. And next door to that is an old Foreman Mills building. And I did my first ever underground bare knuckle fight there. One fight, 6 people in attendance. Now we go up the road about a mile and a half, 2 miles, 17,000. 6 years later, 17,800 people, 13 fights on the card. It's going to be an amazing night.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's a testament to your resilience too, right? Because you could easily have shut that one down and be like, I'm just, this is crazy,
Yeah.
to think that you could scale this thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you're persistent, and I just go back to Philly, like the Flyers, Broad Street Bullies were built on the essence of what you're bringing, what you're doing here in Philly. So
Well, that's what I said. Like,
just, incredible.
I'm from Philly, and people don't get it. I'm like, no, I'm from Philly. Like, it's a little different. We don't just quit. We don't roll over. We fight. We fight our way to wherever we need to go, and that's what we did. And it's just the growth has been amazing. The acceptance now is just something that I never really dreamed of. I have 4 major television networks will be at the fight on Saturday. One of them is going to give us a TV deal, so this thing is going to really skyrocket in 2025.
Oh,
Amazing.
man, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
The timeliness, I think, just like the way the world is going, and I guess maybe just like people's maybe perception of some of the stuff has just changed, right? I think it's almost like we've become desensitized to some of the stuff that's going on, and so like bare knuckle brawling doesn't seem that crazy, right? I mean, you look at the stuff that's going on; it's
Yeah,
almost like
good point.
like pretty PG considering some of the things that are going on in this world. So
I think one of the biggest things for us is our viewership for women. When we started this thing for the first 3 years, we were 4%. We're now 22% women. So that goes to what you said. A testament to your statement is that it's opening up and it's becoming more desensitized, and people are accepting it more, and it's becoming more the regular, the norm. And
Right.
they love it.
Well, you seem like a genius because just to put all this together, and it obviously, like you were saying, how hard it was to put that time in. But my God, man, is it growing? I mean, it really is the fastest growing sport. It's amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say genius. I would just say, I got balls and I got heart, and I just didn't quit. I should have quit. I could have quit 20 different times. It was easy. I could have quit 2 weeks ago when I was trying to find more money to put on this event, right?
Yeah.
This isn't smooth sailing yet. It's about to be. We have some big time investors coming in, but every event we're finding a way to put on this great event, and then we put on this great event, and then it just, it raises the bar for us, and then we have to put on a better event, and then we have to find a way to do that. But it's so easy to quit, right? In life, it's so easy to quit. It's hard to keep going. It's hard to find a way. It's hard to say, no, I'm going to push forward, and we just found a way to do that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I just was fortunate enough to meet you last week, really quick, obviously, at the game. But a good friend of ours, Charlie Nama, who's actually in the stew, as we call it, he had one of the best compliments I've ever heard. He said, you have a hockey mentality, meaning you're very loyal. He actually said, quote unquote, he's loyal as fuck. But you brought up having the balls, but all that comes together and you can see the work you've put into it and what's happening for you.
Yeah, my dad's got a saying that you can't be 99% loyal. You're either 100% or get the fuck out of here. You're 100% in. You can't be we can't be at a bar 100 times and 99 times I'm with you in a bar fight and the 100th time I walk away from you. I'm not loyal. I got to be loyal every single time, and I'm big on loyalty. I'm big on persistence. I'm big on camaraderie, and we have that in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and we have a family atmosphere with the fighters. I was just doing a podcast earlier with some UFC guys, and they said, "Man, all the fighters talk great about you." I said, because it's the reason that. I said I will never treat the fighters as a number, right? Even hockey players, football players, sometimes they're treated as a number. They're not a person, right?
That's it.
Right.
They got to be treated as human beings. They're risking their life in there every time. So I think that makes them talk about us more, makes them suggest that people watch it more, and I think that really helped in our growth as well.
Yeah.
That's important because I know for myself, growing, being a hockey fighter and realizing at some point, you're just a piece of meat, right? And you're spoke in the machine, and the way some owners look at those pieces as that, right? And you're talking about something completely different, where you're talking about the human side of these guys, and they're you want to help them make some money, right? They got to feed their family, and in turn, if it feeds the machine, but there has to be that they say that mutual respect there.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. It's got to make business sense. But it doesn't have to make business sense to where the company has to make this much money, you know what I mean, when they can make this much money and still do very good, right? And the guys can actually live a good life. And that's what I'm trying to do. I think on this journey, it's for me, it's I want to put on the best product out there. I do. I want it to be the biggest thing out there. I want everybody to make a ton of money. I do. I'm not sitting here saying I don't. But it's about how many lives can I change in the process? How many lives can I change along the way? How many fighters' lives can I change and make better? How many of my team's lives can I change and make better along the process? And if we can all change a lot of these guys' lives and give them a better opportunity, then they want to work harder for us. Then they want to fight harder for us. Then they want to tell people to fight for us. And then the thing just grows organically.
That's it.
That's
Rising
the truth.
tides. Yeah. Early stages of this idea, growing this vision out. Were you observing the UFC and Dana White, what they're doing? Did you kind of have this aha moment of I see what he's doing, I want to do something similar? Or
yeah, it wasn't really that. It was a little bit like it was. How do I create my own lane? I promoted boxing, I promoted mixed martial arts, and I was never going to ever make a big difference. I was going to make a little money, and there was no way to really change anything. So I did see what he did and what he built, but I created our own lane with Bare Knuckle. Nobody else had ever done Bare Knuckle since 1889. So it's been a long, long time since they've done it, and we created our own lane. A funny story with Dana White is in Atlantic City at about 2014, I went to one of his fights. I tapped him on the shoulder. I just did an underground fight that everybody talked about. ESPN did a big article on it. And I said, "You hear about that?" "Yeah, I heard about that. It'll never work. It'll never get sanctioned. Get out of here." And I was like, "Huh? Isn't that what they said to you,
what they
man?"
told you?
Yeah,
I said,
right.
"I see it at the top." And I walked away, and I'm like, I told my buddy, like, I just told Dana White I was him at the top.
Well,
I was like, what am I
hey.
doing? And guess what?
Yep.
Everybody is telling us now we're the number 2 combat sport in the world.
That's awesome, man.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
It's so cool.
Yeah, wow. It's yeah, you did carve out your own lane, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
can observe other people doing something similar, take what you like from it, and then
Yeah, man.
never listen to anybody's doubts either, right? I mean,
No, man. I mean, look, in life, everybody will tell you that you can't do something.
that's right.
They can't do it because they can't do it.
That's it.
They can't
Right.
tell you can't do it,
That's
right?
it.
Somebody might tell you couldn't have been done what you did, and look what you did, right?
Sure, exactly.
So it's just, you have to have passion, you have to have fortitude, and you have to take a no as like it's, to me, a no was just another step closer to a yes. It was
Exactly.
like, okay, now I actually like when they say no now, because I'm like, how do I figure out how to turn it into a yes? Like,
Yeah.
it's actually a nice thing now.
Yeah, it'd be too easy if everything was a yes,
Right?
right? It's
Yeah,
like sales,
right.
right? You expect like
Yeah, man.
99 no's before you get a
Yeah.
yes or something, right? It just kind of fuels you.
Yeah, so we're doing this, and we mentioned Charlie earlier, and we are actually doing we're going to do a partnership with his company Ice Wars. We're going to take that under our wings at Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and that's going to be a part of BKFC. So we'll have Ice Wars underneath there. We'll do glove fights with Ice Wars, and then we'll step up the level, and then we'll drop the gloves, and we'll do some Bare Knuckle Ice Wars too.
Amazing. You heard it
Yeah,
here.
you heard it here first. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not first, but you heard it here.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome. I was gonna allude to that. Maybe you have a big announcement tomorrow, but I appreciate you saying that.
No,
That's,
it was great, man.
Yeah,
It's
we're
gonna-
pumped about that.
We're going to
as well.
really promote it tomorrow. We're going to announce it. It's something that I think it can really grow. I heard about it for a long time. I just told him, yeah, I watched it. I didn't watch it at all until he showed it to me the other last week when he was here, and I was like, wow, man. But we were talking about doing the whole rink, and then we're talking about just condensing it to where they can just fight in a small circle.
Yeah.
And I think if that happens, all the hockey fans are going to watch this.
Yeah.
It's going
Oh
to be
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, for sure.
And then the fight fans are going to watch it, and then the hockey fans are going to watch BKFC, and it's going to be a nice little happy family.
Yeah, well, it
Yes.
seems like a perfect partnership.
It really
Makes
does.
a lot of sense. We met Charlie. I guess it was
Couple
like
years
a couple
ago.
years ago, and we've just supported the Ice Wars project, and
Hey.
our good friend Chris Terrian did one of the
Yep.
early
Yeah, you
announcements.
saw, I
You
saw you
probably
the other
met
night
the
with
other day.
Chris. Yeah,
But it seemed to make sense like back then. But now seeing this thing kind of morph and take shape
It's
with
amazing.
with a guy like yourself and a company like yourself makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, man. I just think, look, now we have the opportunity to do things like that, to acquire different content and different promotions, and actually put them under the wing and grow them up and blow them out. And I think that this is so much similar to what we're doing. So I really think we have a good way of blowing this one up.
yeah, that's amazing. The only thing I will say about Charlie is don't let him try to like put a scooter up onto a truck, eh? Poor guy, when we met him. Did you hear about this? I go to give him a hug. He goes, no. I'm like, no, I'm on this side. No, they're both messed up. His arms.
Broke both of his shoulders?
Oh, yeah. He went backwards. Were you trying to help Bundy with his daughter's motorcycle or something? A Vespa. And this poor guy, we got a picture with him, and we're in the casino, and Charles got his arms in
That's funny,
slings.
man. I got to see that picture.
Oh my God! But man, this is actually amazing, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about it all the time, and now we get to meet you. You got you here, man. So cool, so cool.
I was just gonna say, you grew up in Philly. You did a bunch of boxing. You and your brother. Is that fighting's been in your blood for
I was
forever?
a former professional boxer. My brother was. My dad trained 7 world champions. He was a former professional boxer. So it's been in my family the whole time. My mom got injured when I was young, and my dad moved all the fighters into our house, and it was a training camp. We were in a predominantly white suburban neighborhood, and we had all black fighters living with us, and it just shook up the neighborhood, but it was great, and they all fought on major TV fights, and it just turned it turned it turned the whole neighborhood around, and it was really cool, man. I love it because I like 2 guys that live with me were on death row now, so I grew up with the bottom of the bottom, the people that can't be in society, and I can deal with the top of the top. So kind of well rounded by having that kind of upbringing.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's impressive. I was going to ask this great question because I was going to ask you like boxing in your background, but wow.
Yeah, well, it makes sense that you'd be doing what you're doing, you and your brother. It's like 'cause it's in the blood, and obviously.
So, are you gonna fight for my brother?
We've been in discussion.
Hey man, I was ready.
He's gonna love that I asked.
Yeah.
Well, Nasty's still lobbying.
I keep giving him shit every week.
I'm 185 pounds. I'm like, I'm like kind of past the fighting part of my life, but I appreciate it. I'm
You're light. You're even quicker.
I'm
now.
light and efficient, probably.
Yeah,
but I'm in the world of like mental health and helping these guys preserve their brains on the back end of the fights. Because I understand the grind.
A big piece just came out in the Philly Inquirer today. Me and my brother about mental health awareness and stuff like that. So if you get a chance, check it out.
I'll definitely check it out.
I think what happens is guys like us that are supposed to be bad dudes. And you talk about mental health, and people think that you got to be weak to talk about mental health, right? And they're afraid to. And then when you can talk about it, you let other people be comfortable about talking about it. And I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, being vulnerable is a superpower. And
it
opens guys up. Yeah, so we could wrap on that next time. But doing a hell of a job. We're grateful to support you, and we'll be there Saturday.
I appreciate it, man. Well, thank you so much, and all the fans out there. If you want more information on BKFC, go to BKFC.com. We're going to have a sold-out crowd here at the Wells Fargo Center Saturday, January 25th. It's going to be amazing. If you can get out there. And I really appreciate you guys giving me a platform, man. It's awesome.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me? We're happy to do it. I'm so excited about this, man. It's crazy.
It's great. Yeah. Appreciate it.
No, I need somebody to towel some water. Hey, you need me to get I'll hold the bucket.
I almost.
I'll stick to the water boy.
No. I just want to be there.
Yeah.
Oh, man, but seriously, thank you so much. Brother.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, Nas, big thank you to David Feldman for stopping by.
Yes, man. I'm so excited for this weekend.
You going to get in the ring?
I'm not getting in the ring unless he invites me up there to hand someone a medal or something, because I don't want to get knocked the fuck out.
No?
No.
You're looking extra tough.
I'm not.
No?
I'm not.
Wow, what an enterprise this guy's
my
created.
God, man. He's a fucking genius, man. I mean, people just love it.
Love it.
I do too. I mean, I'm not a tough guy, but like I can watch it. It doesn't bother me to watch. You feel bad once in a while for a guy, but
for sure
you get shit knocked out of him, but they know what they're getting into, right?
Well, that's it.
It's like you used to drop the middies and you go one way or the other.
Didn't feel too bad for me when I got my face pounded in.
Oof, I felt really bad. That's why everybody made fun of me, juking and jiving for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Worked most of the time.
Yeah.
You got caught a few, but that's all right. That's what happens.
But I'm sure he took a few notes from Dana White and UFC over the years, and the fights, like the gladiator type of mentality. People have always been drawn to it, and you can see why this thing is taken off, and you say the fastest growing sport.
It's unbelievable.
People love that. So we'll see
sure.
Saturday night, Wells Fargo.
Yes, can't wait.
Nasty, we primed up, ready to go.
Yeah, gonna be there.
Rocking the vest.
I don't know, man. I might wear my mink, my fur, or whatever that thing is. We gotta show up. Man, we gotta walk in. You gotta wear that outfit you wore when you went on that vacay a little while ago. You see that one, baller?
The shades.
Oh yeah, you had the fur on.
Oh, yeah.
Real fur. No, it wasn't real fur. You wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't.
Him said nasty.
You know what time it is, Riggs?
What time?
It's time for Clear Questions.
Oh.
Clear Questions, brought to you by Clear Rum. Go to clearrum.com/shop, type in Nasty 2023, and get 35% off on your order. PA residents only. Baller, what do you got?
What's up, boys? Leading us off today, we got Fly Guy 7 from Twitter. It was an interesting question. We got a similar one a couple months ago about which guy from the 2010 team would you want on the current team. I think you both said Prongs.
Yeah.
Fly Guy 7's going reverse. If you could add one current Flyer to the 2010s roster, who would it be and why?
Oh, great question.
Good question for me, Travis Konecny.
Yeah.
Just the grit, The way he
grit.
plays. He's got an old school. He's got a 2010 mentality.
Yeah, right.
I don't know where you put him, but you could find a place to put him. I mean,
well, that's it.
He just the way he plays.
He buzzes.
I'm just thinking about like in the finals, like with Eags, Ben Eager, big buff. Like he'd have had them guys wanting to kill.
Oh yeah.
Kill him. But he's also a hell of a player.
Yeah.
So I think that's who I would take right off the top of my head.
Yeah, I agree. He came to mind too. Obviously, there's a few others that you could toss in there, but
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of has the whole package, right? I mean, he brings the intensity, the grit, and shoots, scores, makes plays, highly competitive. I mean,
Yes.
he's a guy you definitely want on your squad.
Yeah, for sure.
This one's from Six Pack Season. He asks, did Nasty ever get into any heated verbal altercations with opposing players while on the bench?
I don't think I ever really got into any verbal, like, I'd look pretty dumb arguing with a guy that was playing, and I'm the equipment guy. No, I didn't chirp Malkin. Bobby Ryan rang one off my elbow one time and case skated by the bench and said, "Suck it, Nasty," and all our guys thought it was fucking funny, and I didn't because I thought my elbow was broken. I do remember one thing that happened way back. I think it was the year we won the Cup, 97, 98, and they were playing Hershey. It was always shit going on. It was not smart of me to do, but someone was leaned over in our bench and was just kind of pushing at everyone, and it was like Bruce Coles was standing there and Jimmy Montgomery, and I kind of stepped over the bench and I grabbed his jersey. Can you imagine if I did that now? Like I'd have probably gotten fired and everything else, but I kind of held his jersey there, his arm there for a second, and Monty just popped him right in the face with his glove on, but then I let go because I'm like, what are you doing? So, but it wasn't really a verbal altercation. The guy didn't even say anything
you're more
to
of
me.
A physical guy.
It was physical,
Just a physical.
I was still 0-4-1 by then. That was the dumbest. That was actually really stupid that I did that, but I did.
Yeah, what happens?
It happens.
You're an emotional guy now.
We got pictures of Sudsy literally fighting in his trainer's clothing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little different.
It settles down every generation, right?
It just settles it down. Yeah.
You're just a little more mild version of Sudsy.
Very mild.
Scrap
Very
the jersey, no punches thrown.
No, not throwing any.
No words thrown either.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This one's from Forza Inter 215. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He wants to know, what was Nasty and Riley's favorite jersey / uniform while with the Flyers?
For me, I think it was my first year, my first full year there. I think it was 07, 08. Remember they did this tight jerseys
yes.
there? Not that I actually kind of liked the fit of it. For a couple reasons. For fighting.
Right.
Because it was tight on the sleeves and everything like that.
Yeah.
Besides one time Ashram ripped my sleeve right off my arm. But those are the black ones. I think those I'm going to go with those blacks in 07, 08.
Yeah, those are.
Why do you say they were tight?
They were. It was the way they were made. It was the league was trying to get to a more
slim.
It was
like
funny.
A slimmer fit,
I had all this stuff that we had emailed, and basically it was to make him look slimmer. Not everything's so big and baggy. They actually looked pretty cool, and not too many people really complained about them. They were also a different material. They were like a stretchy polyester almost. Mm-hmm. The black ones I really liked, but I think my favorite, that's definitely almost a tie for first or a second for sure. But the black jerseys they wear now I really like that we first wore in Pittsburgh in the Stadium Series game. That I just love the way the numbers are so big. Numbers, I think it looks cool.
Yeah, agreed.
David Waitman over on Twitter wants to know. He says the Flyers at the deadline, they aren't buying. Any selling? ?
Well, we kind of touched on that before. I think Danny's going to do, if he gets something that knocks his socks off. I mean, obviously he talked about Risto yesterday, and like we talked about with Hatch, our first guest today, like teams want big bodies and physical guys. And I think I can imagine Risto getting into the playoffs being even more physical than he plays maybe in the regular season. When you're trying to win a Stanley Cup, you're willing to do anything, obviously.
Yeah.
I think if something, we've talked about Scott Laughton, like, if they get their socks blown off, I think they're going to do it. But other than that, I guess, maybe anyone's open to be traded. It just depends on what. You don't want to go backwards either, right?
Well, that's it, yeah.
So.
Yeah. I can see Risto being moved. I mean, his as high as they've ever been, at least
I think so
in
too.
the Flyers jersey. So and he's a valuable 6'7" defenseman on a contender, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the compete, he's got the size, all that good stuff, the grind. But the price has to be right. I don't see it being more than one or two pieces max.
Right.
You can't start unloading too much. Obviously you need pieces back. But if something makes sense, obviously we say this all the time. If anything's for sale, if the price is right. So
yeah.
We'll see. I could see Risto. I could see Risto being moved.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if the Flyers keep playing the way they're playing and can get into a spot. Maybe things change, but then again, it's like Danny said. We're more focused on the future.
That's it.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Great question, though.
This one's from your boy Sean Combs.
Oh, Buffy.
He was sending tweets out yesterday. I think we have a gift or two coming to the studio soon through the mail.
Oh, Puff Daddy.
Go Puff Daddy.
His clear question: what's Nasty's favorite Flyer startup song used at the Farg? And does he know who picked Fozzie's Lights Go Out a few years back? That was a jam.
Let me guess who picked that. I don't know who picked that, actually. It kind of changed. It used to be something. Sometimes we go out and be like, when we had the black jerseys, back in black for a few seconds, but it was always a mix. But I always liked, it just reminded me of being a kid and coming up to visit my dad, like when a team comes back from a road trip and they always play Thin Lizzy, the boys are back in town. Something about that. I love that.
A little Buck Cherry.
I love Buck Diddy.
You
You know I love Buck Cherry, but I think Boys Are Back in Town is one of my favorite hockey songs, I guess you would say. AC/DC, never go wrong with either.
Yeah.
That just gets you jacked.
It does.
But that's just me.
It's a good one.
This one's from Rich, not in Canada, over on Twitter. He asks, what does Danny Briere, Keith Jones, and the organization do with goaltending going forward?
Well, right now, in the last 2 weeks, I don't think you do anything, but I'm sure they're always looking to see what happens. We don't know what's getting ready to happen in the next couple weeks, with goalies or maybe potential goalies that could be able to be signed. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But right now, I think you're always looking, right? Like if you...
Yeah, unless you have a franchise goaltender locked up for 10 years or something like that.
That's
But
what I mean.
You're always looking. But I think, like, to your point, this is probably the most that the goaltending situation's settled all year, right?
Right.
I mean, so it's
right
like,
now.
to me, it's like you got Ersson playing well, number one, and you got Fedotov, number two.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed.
Right?
And hope they keep
hope they
playing
stay
well.
healthy. I mean, so for the time being, I think it's probably the same. Are they sniffing around up top and, like, obviously looking for pieces for the future? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think they're always looking, but I don't know what that could potentially look like.
There was that rumor a couple of weeks ago, John Gibson.
Yeah,
that one scared me a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to go in and shuffle the deck if it's not going to improve.
Yeah,
it's going to be an obvious improvement. I don't know if that's necessary. So I'm sure they're always looking to see. They're always looking to see who's available, who's being willing to be shopped around. But I mean, if it doesn't make absolute sense for the future and more like the long term,
right?
I don't see them. Changing the chemistry right now.
Yeah, me either. Great question.
All right, we got two more. This one's from Alex Nedeljkovic, Foot Scrubber.
Oh,
okay.
What do you guys want to see in the new arena?
Stripper poles?
Steam room?
Oh, steam room. I thought you were going with stripper poles.
I
don't think they're going to have those.
No, you don't think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's not family friendly for the kids.
You're probably right.
I've never seen one, but I've heard that.
Yeah.
Stripper pole, that is. What more could you put in there? I don't know.
I mean,
you got everything in the one you have now.
We need more bubble hockey tables.
Oh yeah,
can never go wrong.
Okay,
bubble
hockey tables. Baller, that's it. Baller, you got it. I don't know.
Any new types of food in the building, Nas? You've been craving? It's not
some southern cooking, man.
Oh,
my little barbecue.
Little gumbo?
Is there barbecue in there? Shrimp gumbo. No, I don't know, man. I mean, I think there's just about everything.
I mean, it's like
everything.
just a feast of entertainment.
Yeah, I mean,
Jim's cheesesteaks.
What? Jim's now? because they do cheesesteaks in there somewhere.
Gyms.
Crab
Okay,
fries?
he wants gyms. No, I don't
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-Fizz, don't even go there. Actually, be perfect for me with Elvie, but I don't know, man. I mean, there's so much. There's so much there now, but I'm sure they'll come up with something, right?
Meditation room for the stressful fan.
You gonna do it? Stressful.
De-stress
You can't
room?
fit 24,000 people into the stress room.
Well, didn't they have that room a couple years ago? Like they were like the break room.
Oh
right?
yeah,
The
that was
snack
for
room.
Gritzy. I
Yeah,
thought that was for Gritty.
But for the fans, someone to go
Oh,
decompress
man.
after a bad play or
Yeah.
overreaction.
Joe
that
Watson.
still in
Joe
there?
Watson.
No, I don't think so.
Joe Watson. You go in there and
It's
snap.
like the decompression room.
Yeah,
It's like,
maybe that.
yeah,
Good question, though.
is.
All right, we got one more. This one's from Brandon McComsey over on the Gram. He wants to know, which draft pick do the Flyers regret not making the most, Rantanen or Makar?
I mean, obviously, you want Makar on your team if you could, but I mean, it's easy to look back and say that. So, I mean, Makar's really good.
Not a bad player.
He's not bad.
Yeah, in
Pretty
hindsight,
good.
Yeah, I would probably go
Pretty
with
good.
Makar. I mean,
Yeah, I'd go with Makar.
both are some pretty good players.
Yes.
But I think Makar's
for sure.
who you want on your back end.
I agree.
Would have chosen myself.
Yeah, you would have.
Had him on my list.
I know you did.
Who didn't?
Who didn't?
Flyers, I guess.
I know. I guess they didn't.
But it
All
happens.
right, buddy.
It's another one in the books.
188.
188.
All right.
You gonna be ready for 199?
199 or 189?
You gonna be ready for 189
Give him
next
another
week?
split. Yeah, I'm ready.
Better be.
All right.
All right. Until next week, Knuckleheads, be sure to continue to subscribe, like, ask the questions, keep them coming. Some great ones. Till then, stay safe, Knuckleheads.
See ya.